Hi everyone, and welcome to your ON24 training session. This session will cover how to manage a webcast using Presentation Manager XD, which is the presentation tool on the ON24 platform. My name is Sam. I'm a platform training specialist here at ON24. And so as we begin here today, let's talk about the presenter information. So how does the present team actually connect to the present side of the platform? We're actually sitting in an account on Webcast Elite right now, and we have an event pulled up, which we have just titled Event for Training right here. Every event has a unique event ID number that gets assigned to it whenever a webcast event has been created in the account. So this number will be unique to this event and will be the identifier and the first thing anybody asks for it on 24 should you need any help. And just as we're talking about help, let me show you that right here. This help under the drop down here would get you to the Help Center, which is going to be changed pretty soon, I think, to be named Knowledge Base, which is basically our self-help. It's our Help Center where you can go and look up different topics. There are videos, there are short documents in there. We've tried to keep everything in short bite-sized chunks in there for you so that you can look for what you need. If you need to submit a support case, if you click on support, this will take you to our new support page, and you can actually get to the knowledge base. You can submit a support ticket so that anybody on the ON24 side can look into some things, and we will get back to you within 4 business hours upon submitting a case. And you actually have chat support here as well. So anybody that's working on anything on this side of the platform, you have chat support. It will identify you by your login name, and you can just start typing a message and start chatting, and our support team will be there. It's available to you 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and a little bit on the weekends. It starts a little bit based on Pacific Coast time there, but during the business week, 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So just know that you have those things available to you, and you can get help in the moment and get a pretty quick answer no matter what your issue is. So as we talk about the presenter information on the overview page, you have the presenter information that gets populated once an event is created. So down here, the presenter information on the bottom of the page will give you a link that says Launch Presentation Manager XD. If you're doing a dial-in event, it would also provide some phone numbers here, but the phone numbers that you will use, since we're doing a live video and audio with a screen share present type, this will just give you the link, and those numbers will be available when we open up the presentation side of the platform. So just know that you can access this here. You can also access the present side of the platform by clicking on the link icon up here. This is available on all of these pages on Webcast Elite, no matter if you're on registration or email notifications or building out your console. This is available here. These links are the quick and easy way around the platform. The audience link is your promotional link. The reports link will take you to the reporting features. The preview link I like to think of as kind of a toggle that lets you view what the audience will see, so you can get an audience view, because what the audience sees is vastly different from what the present team will actually be seeing when they're actually managing the webcast in Presentation Manager XD. So this preview allows you to see and preview some things before you actually get to the day of the webcast. It's very useful. And then after the webcast runs, you can actually use this to view what we archive as an on-demand webcast for you automatically when you run your webcast. So this would be available to you to look at this around 30 minutes after the end of a webcast. You should have an on-demand version ready and waiting for you to look at and repurpose that content. And then the present link right here is the same link as this link down here in the presenter information at the bottom of the overview page. So no matter where you are, you can always pull up these links and then just click right here. It will open up a new tab and take you to the present side of the platform where you can log into Presentation Manager. The branding on these pages will change out, but all of these pages, no matter what event you're working on, will all look very similar. So it's just a matter of putting in your first name, last name, email address, and selecting your language of choice for how you want the platform to be labeled. So if you natively speak something else, you can click on the drop-down and choose a language that's more commonly used for the presenter. So this is very flexible, and it's done on a presenter-by-presenter basis. So anything that you would need here that we support, then you could just pick that language from here, and I'll just leave this as English just for demonstration purposes for now. And then we have 3 roles down here. So the roles that you have here are the producer role, the presenter role, and the Q&A role. Now, as you get your present team together over here in Webcast Elite, what you can do to distribute this link is you can uncheck these boxes right here, and the present link, if you leave that checked, you can put in the email addresses just for the present team, and this is really all they need if they're not going to be involved in actually building out the webcast in Webcast Elite on this side of the platform. All they would need is this link right here that would actually get them to this page right here where they can log in as a presenter. If they're involved in any of the building or any of that side of the platform, any of the functionalities of building out the webcast, then they would need, of course, to be able to have an account to get into Webcast Elite and be able to see their name up here. So that's the differences between just being a presenter that actually shows up and presents on the day of, or comes in and practices a couple of times, of course, before. As one of our best practices is, of course, to have some practice sessions ahead of time. You can do that. But otherwise, all they need is the ability to get to this page to log in where they can check the event name, the event ID number to make sure it matches, and see the date and time. The overview up here will just ensure that you're logging into the correct event. So the user roles right here, if you click on this link, this will give you a short description of each. But the very important designation between the producer and the presenter and the Q&A roles is that the producer role has full access to everything on the platform. So just be aware that you're going to have a producer, at least one person logged in as a producer as you present your live webcast, because the important things that the producer can do that no one else has access to are they will be the person that actually sequences all the content for the webcast, and then they will also be the person that starts the webcast by clicking on the Start button, and they will end the webcast when you have thanked everyone for attending, promoted your next event, and said so long, we'll see you next time on our next webcast. They will be the person that will actually have access to the End Webcast button that will end the webcast at the end, which stops the recording of your webcast and starts the archiving on the ON24 side of the platform. So you can see here that presenters still have the ability to push slides and all the elements that you put in, whether it's a video clip or a poll question, participate in the Q&A session. They can get to the Q&A tool. They just can't resequence any of the content. They can't start or stop the webcast. So they don't have any access to any of those things there. And then the Q&A screener has the least amount of accessibility to the tools. Basically, they can log in, they can connect with a platform, but they generally are just the person. It's a great role to have if you have an extra set of hands just to help manage the questions, because the Q&A tool itself will allow you to actually manage questions and prioritize them, putting the most important ones at the top of the list. You can organize questions and put them in folders by topic or maybe by presenter. There's a lot of ways you can manage that, but it's a great role to have. So Q&A basically is focused on that. They're generally not someone who presents on the webcast. And then your system requirements are actually down here at the bottom of the page in case those are important to you. Basically, if you're running the latest version of Explorer, Edge, Firefox, and Chrome, you're good to go. Mac OS 10.10 plus or higher, running the latest versions of Firefox or Chrome, that will work. So you need to use Firefox or Chrome even if you're on a Mac. And then Flash Player version 20 or above will work. So all that's available to you there. And then security settings. If you need to password protect any of these roles to where someone can't log in as a producer and start changing the content, if you have clearly defined roles, which is one of our best practices where you know that these people will be in charge of actually putting in the content, sequencing everything, if I can speak today, and then getting that done, or you want other people to have access to those tools, then if you click on security settings, this would require a Webcast Elite login. You can put in your username and password and click Enter, and you can actually set up a password of your choosing just by filling in the blank in the field there and saving that. I won't actually go into that and show you that. It's pretty straightforward as far as just putting in your credentials, clicking Enter, and then setting the passwords. Then you'll provide the password for the presenters and the Q&A moderator if you want them to be different, and that's something that you would need to provide when you provide that link as well. So are there any questions about basically how to get to the present side of the platform, or anything about the roles, security settings, or system requirements?
Nope, I think that was a really good explanation and a good overview of those different roles and sort of that logging into Presentation Manager. So that was really helpful. Now, one question I have is for doing a dry run, are the roles again just as important for doing a dry run as they are in the live day of the presentation? And sort of, can we go through what are the things that we should be looking at for each of those roles during those dry runs?
One of our best practices is to have clearly defined roles for each person. So just to keep things consistent, we would recommend that you actually stick with the same role for a practice session or a dry run as you would on the day of a live webcast. So if you're going to be performing in the producer role, then you would log in. And the wonderful thing about this video presenter bridge format that you're actually using the present type, which is the live video and audio with the screen share, that will allow you to dial in and connect to the platform at any time and practice as much or as little as you want. So you have total access to connect, hear each other, get on to your presentation within Presentation Manager, and actually talk through some things prior to the actual day of the event. So you're able to talk about sequencing the content, or maybe hiding a slide, or taking something out, or hiding it from view from the audience so that they don't see that. Just updating, moving things into place so that everyone's happy with the flow of the presentation. So I would have everyone log in as producer who's going to be producer. You have up to 10 slots where people can actually connect to the platform and speak to your audience. So just know that you have 10 slots, and you can have more than one person log in as a producer. Just know that if you have 2 producers, that leaves 8 slots or 8 logins of people who can actually connect to Presentation Manager and speak to the audience. So you can manage that any way you want to between the 3 roles. So the Q&A person doesn't have to actually connect to the platform. They can just log into the web interface and use the chat tool in the background if they need to. But that would actually free up one of those 10 slots depending on how many people you're going to have present on the actual webcast.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about this before we move on?
I would say no questions at this time, no.